When we think of World War I, the images that often come to mind are those of trenches, soldiers in uniforms, and the horrors of no man's land. But behind these images lies a powerful and often overlooked force, the women who contributed to the war effort in ways that changed societies forever. Their roles stretched far beyond traditional expectations, shattering norms and paving the way for a reevaluation of gender roles in the years to come. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating, multifaceted contributions of women during World War I, not just on the home front, but also in industries, healthcare, and even covert operations. So grab a seat and let's explore this vital chapter in history. When war broke out in 1914, the world was still largely patriarchal. Women were expected to remain in the domestic sphere, taking care of homes, children, and their families. Yet as millions of men were called to the front lines, this conventional framework began to crumble. Suddenly, nations found themselves in desperate need of workers to keep their economies functioning, supplies flowing, and societies running. Women's entrance into these roles wasn't just a matter of choice, it was a necessity. One of the most striking transformations occurred in the industrial sector. Factories that once employed predominantly male workforces now opened their doors to women. From assembling munitions to manufacturing uniforms, women became the backbone of wartime production. The image of the munitionette, or canary girl, named so because of the yellow tint their skin took on from handling TNT, became iconic. While this work was hazardous, exposing women to toxic chemicals and the constant risk of explosions, they undertook it with remarkable courage. Their efforts ensured that soldiers at the front lines had the ammunition they needed, making them indispensable to the war effort. But industrial work wasn't the only domain where women excelled. Agriculture saw a revolution with the formation of groups like the Women's Land Army in Britain. As men left farms to fight, women stepped in to plow fields, plant crops, and harvest food. These land girls, often adorned in overalls and boots, defied the conventional image of femininity. They worked tirelessly to prevent food shortages and keep their countries fed, proving that women were as capable of physical labor as their male counterparts. Beyond the fields and factories, women played a critical role in healthcare during World War I. Nursing had long been considered a suitable profession for women, but the scale and intensity of the war demanded an extraordinary response. Tens of thousands of women volunteered to serve as nurses, often in harrowing conditions. Organizations like the British Red Cross and the Voluntary Aid Detachments sent women to field hospitals and even to the front lines. These nurses treated gruesome injuries, dealt with diseases, and provided emotional support to soldiers traumatized by the horrors of battle. One remarkable figure was Edith Cavell, a British nurse who operated in German-occupied Belgium. Beyond tending to wounded soldiers, she became involved in a secret network that helped Allied soldiers escape to neutral countries. Her bravery and dedication ultimately cost her life. She was executed by the Germans in 1915. Cavell's story is a stark reminder of the extraordinary risks some women took during the war. Women also played a significant role in medical advancements. For example, Dr. Elsie Inglis, a pioneering Scottish physician, established the Scottish Women's Hospitals, which provided medical care to soldiers on the Eastern and Western fronts. Inglis and her team faced resistance from male-dominated medical organizations, but persevered, saving countless lives and proving their expertise. Yet the contributions of women weren't limited to visible roles like nursing and factory work. Many women engaged in covert activities, serving as spies and intelligence agents. Mata Hari, perhaps the most famous female spy of the era, operated in a murky world of espionage and intrigue. While her legacy remains controversial, with debates over her actual effectiveness as a spy, her story symbolizes the high-stakes, shadowy roles women sometimes played in the war. Others, like Louise de Bettigny, took on less glamorous but equally critical roles in intelligence. De Bettigny was a French spy who ran an extensive network, gathering and transmitting crucial information to the Allies. Her courage and resourcefulness made her a key figure in the intelligence operations of World War I, though she was eventually captured and died in captivity. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new daily videos. The war also saw women mobilizing for social and political causes. The massive disruption caused by the war created opportunities for women to demand greater rights and recognition. In countries like Britain and the United States, the suffrage movement gained momentum as women demonstrated their indispensable contributions to the war effort. The argument became undeniable. If women could work in munitions factories, drive ambulances, and manage farms, why shouldn't they have the right to vote? One of the most significant milestones came in 1918, when British women over the age of 30 who met certain property qualifications were granted the right to vote. Similarly, women in the United States achieved suffrage in 1920, just 2 years after the end of the war. These victories were far from universal, as many countries still denied women the vote, but they marked a critical turning point in the global fight for gender equality. The cultural impact of women's contributions during World War I cannot be overstated. For many, the war was the first time they had experienced economic independence, responsibility outside the domestic sphere, and a sense of agency. This shift laid the groundwork for future generations of women to challenge traditional gender roles and pursue careers and opportunities once deemed off-limits. However, it's essential to acknowledge that this transformation wasn't without its challenges. Many women faced discrimination and skepticism from male colleagues and superiors. Despite their vital contributions, they were often paid less than men for the same work. And when the war ended, there was a concerted push in many countries to return women to their pre-war roles in the home. Governments and employers, eager to reintegrate returning soldiers into the workforce, often laid off female workers or relegated them to lower-paying, less prestigious jobs. Yet the genie was out of the bottle. The experiences of World War I left an indelible mark on women's consciousness and on society as a whole. Women had proven their capabilities in every sphere: industrial, agricultural, medical, and even espionage. The war acted as a catalyst, accelerating the push for gender equality and setting the stage for the transformative changes of the 20th century. As we look back on the contributions of women during World War I, it's clear that their efforts went far beyond simply filling in for absent men. They redefined what it meant to be a woman in a time of crisis, challenging stereotypes and opening doors for future generations. Their bravery, resilience, and ingenuity deserve to be celebrated and remembered. And that's a wrap on today's exploration of women in World War I. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories. Your support helps us bring these untold narratives to life. Stay curious,